Today's clip is a little bit of a one-off special. I was lucky enough to get on an episode of The Line with Matt Dillahunty. And in this clip, we talk specifically to a woman named Winsome who is confronted with a difficult passage of the Bible and decides that the Holy Spirit isn't strong enough to actually deal with it. If you're not already familiar with The Line, I link the original video in the description of this video so you can watch the entire session. I highly encourage all of our friends and viewers to watch The Line and look forward to future appearances of me on the channel as well.
Theist Christian from Florida. Hey, Winsome, welcome. You wanted to explain why you believe in God.
I believe in God is because I'm alive. That's one. I'm alive. And I want to ask you something before I question. Why you believe in what you believe in? And one thing, you don't believe that God exists. Who let you wake up in the morning and all of these things that happen to you in your life? What
I
are
took a
those
call.
things?
I took a call in the atheist experience
No.
probably 18 years ago with someone asking this question about what gets me up in the morning, or who gets me up in the morning. So I want to let Justin jump in here. But you believe because you're alive, and you want to ask
Yes, I
who gets
believe
up
because
in the morning?
I'm alive,
Okay, I
and
understand.
God exists because I've been through things, and even if I explain to you why I know God is alive, it's not going to be satisfactory to you guys because
Okay,
you guys all at different standards from what I hold, and
that's probably
I,
true.
you know, I can't really give you a full explanation of
No, it's
why
fine.
God exists,
So, is it safe to
but
assume
I
that you
believe.
don't have a rational argument for your God existing? Do you just kind of your intuition tells you that your God exists?
Now, I know that God exists because the things that
But
I've been through, and
I'm
I
not
know
questioning what you
God gave
know.
me breath.
Winsome, just give me a second. I'm
Yes.
not questioning what you know. I'm questioning how you came to that conclusion, right? So, did you come to that conclusion based on thinking
Hmm.
rationally or based on like I have a feeling or an intuition?
I come to real, and it have nothing to do with I go to church or believe in what pastor said to me. Because my conclusion is one, as I said earlier, I'm alive, I'm breathing, and I'm walking, and it's things that I go through in life, and you know,
Okay.
I
So, let's start
I
one at a time. The
hear
fact
God
that we exist,
voice.
what about our
Hmm.
existence requires a God to exist?
You need a spiritual being to be on this
Why?
earth. It's not no big bang you just
Mm,
float out of the air or anything like that.
And
You're not just
I know
being
you
on
believe
earth,
that, but
just
I'm
being on
asking
earth.
why do you believe that, right? So why are you assuming that you need some sort of a spiritual entity for humans to exist?
Because if you don't have that, who give you breath? Where your breath came from?
Well, breath isn't
And
given. Breath is just a process that our bodies engage in, taking in oxygen and nitrogen and other
okay,
smaller amounts of different gases in the atmosphere. But it turns out that like we've had lots of so-called life that can live without oxygen. Like we're just happen to be a species that requires oxygen to survive. But there's lots of bacteria that don't. I mean, there's lots of other life that don't.
yeah, but I'm talking about human life, though. Human. I'm not talking about bacteria and you know.
Why are you assuming that somebody needs to give us the oxygen? Oxygen is abundant, not just on our planet, but even in other planets we've discovered. Like it's not something that like you need magic to conjure up.
No, but if you go on and in Mars, you don't have you gotta be living into a thing to get oxygen. You cannot be on the ground to get free oxygen. And look at these beautiful, who create these beautiful birds, these trees?
Evolution
Tree
created
does
them.
not grow.
Yeah. So the process of evolution explains why the things that we need as organisms come from the environment around us. We evolved within the environment, and part of our evolutionary process was to consume what was in our environment. Obviously, we can't evolve to consume things outside of our environment because then we wouldn't exist. Like we can't evolve to require something that's on Mars, right? The process of evolution dictates that we're going to utilize what we have access to. And just happens to be that human beings need oxygen.
Yes, we all need, and ev- let me find the right word to say. I don't want you to insult me just like I hear you insult John just now. And I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
trying to.
So Winsome, since you think
Yes,
I just insulted John, do you think
yes.
John cared about the truth? What was the insult?
I, because you curse it, and
So if I curse, that's an insult?
to me it is. But beside
Why?
that,
Why? What's the problem
because
with
if
cursing?
somebody, there's nothing wrong with cursing.
If
I'm
there's
not
nothing
growing up
wrong
my
with it,
kids.
then if there's nothing wrong with it, then why do you consider
There's
it an insult?
nothing
Why does it
wrong,
bother you?
but John was very. He's trying to explain how
No,
he
he's not.
believes in God,
No, he's not.
and I'm
No, he's not.
okay.
He's not
You,
trying to explain
if
anything. Every time we addressed every one of his positions, and when he got backed into a corner, he threw up his hands.
okay,
That's not trying to explaining
okay,
anything.
okay. I know the
How about
Bible
how
have
about we do
some
this, Winsome?
misrepresentation
Winsome,
in there. Yes,
Winsome,
yes.
Winsome. How about we do this? Let's ignore what happened with John because I wasn't. I don't put you in the same bucket with John. I don't. And all my engagements with callers are going to be different based on who they are. A minute ago,
Okay, that's fair.
you asked. Yeah, a minute ago you asked a question that was like, "Who gives you breath?" Something like that, right?
Right.
The question I want to ask you
Hmm.
is, why do you get to assume that it's a who rather than a what?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
You know,
So that's why
that's
Justin gave you the
fair
answer
question.
about evolution, because evolution is what? It's the natural, it is the natural processes governed by physics. But here's the thing. Why would
Hmm.
you believe something that you don't think would convince us? Are we too
Because
rational or are you not rational enough?
I'm rational enough, but it, for you guys to you guys was in the truth for over 30 odd years, and if you can't see, there's I can't hear you.
We're listening.
Wait, so Winsome, are you saying you're a Christian? Because you said that we were in the truth,
Yeah,
which
you
we're
guys
Yeah,
both
was
former
in
we're
the truth.
Christians.
Christians.
Be you guys was in the truth of believing in the
Yeah.
Bible before. Isn't that correct?
I don't think it was
Yeah,
the
and
truth, but
then
yes, we believed.
yeah,
Okay,
we came to the
and you
conclusion that it wasn't true. That's why we don't believe anymore. I mean, one of the reasons.
okay, and 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 why? Because you find something that mistranslate in the Bible because man is
No,
the one that
No,
written
certainly not me. No, no,
written the
no.
Bible.
I went to school and I learned Greek and Hebrew, so I didn't have to rely on translations.
Okay, and we all know that from in the beginning in the Bible, people were still not believing in God even when they see God.
I mean, it's
So
pretty easy to show you why the Bible God doesn't exist. You want to see an example of why?
you could go ahead, but it's not something that I'm going to believe because I know God exists.
I've never said you had to believe it. You can believe in a God, and it could certainly just be a different God than the Bible God. Do you believe that the Bible is
There's many
true?
gods. There's many gods. You have the Buddhist God.
I'm
There's many gods.
I'm
but do
sure.
you
Do
think
you
those
believe the
gods are
Bible is
real?
true though?
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
Sorry, well, there's two questions on the board right now. Do
Yeah,
you think that those
ignore
other
mine.
gods?
Ignore mine. Go ahead.
Okay, so to you, for your religious beliefs, do you believe that the Bible is true?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate to you why either one of two things is going to be the case. Either the Bible is not true or you're going to justify a horror show. It says in Deuteronomy 22, it says, suppose a man marries a woman, but after going into her, dislikes her and makes up charges against her, slandering her by saying, I married this woman, but when I lay with her, I did not find evidence of her virginity. What kind of evidence do you think he's looking for?
Because you think that woman did already have some intercourse with somebody else, so that's the
Yeah, My,
evidence.
my
I
guess,
think that
my,
guy
no, but
was listening
my
to.
question is, the man
Mm-hmm,
who's going into his wife for the first time and he's saying, I did not find
mm-hmm.
evidence of her virginity. What is the evidence you think he was expecting?
He was expecting that woman should be a virgin and not and I'm bleeding.
No, no.
That woman should be
There we
bleeding.
go. He's
Ah,
When
expecting her to bleed. Now, it says if this happens, right, the father, they're going to go to court, right? The father of the young woman and her mother shall then submit the evidence of the young woman's virginity to the elders at the city gate. So now they're at court, right? And it says, here is the evidence. The father's going to say, here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. Then they will spread out the cloth before the elders of the town. And then it says, if it's the case that he lied, he gets punished and then he pays a fine. He has to marry her forever. But it says, if however the charge is true, that evidence of the young woman's virginity was not found, then they shall bring out the young woman to the entrance of her father's house, and the men of her town will stone her to death because she's committed a disgraceful act in Israel by prostituting herself in her father's house. So, just to clarify, the evidence that either convicts her or exonerates her is, in fact, the bloody marital sheet, correct?
yes,
Okay. Are you aware that not just today, but even in history, only slightly less than half of women bleed their first time?
that's true.
And so, would the bloody sheet be credible evidence of her virginity?
It should be, but in this day and
We'll try
age,
this again.
mm,
So, if
it's
in fact women don't always bleed their first time, and the only evidence
no.
that you need to kill a woman is a bloody sheet, would it not be true that the bloody sheet would result in innocent women being executed?
That's yes,
It would. Okay. Now, and you believe, according to the Bible, that God is a God of justice, a God of probably fairness and mercy. But you've just now admitted that, according to Deuteronomy 22, God permits you to unjustly execute little girls, probably virgins, based on faulty evidence. Do you think that's justified?
I don't think that justified. But again, who am I to question God as
That's what I said. I would read
he
you a
said to
passage,
Job?
and you would affirm something horrible, and you literally just did it because like the religion has rotted your capacity to use your moral like thinking, your moral capacity, right? But you don't even need to have moral capacity. All you need to know is that God here is practicing injustice. Deuteronomy 32:4 says he's a just God. This is not justice,
Yes.
which means there's a contradiction in the text. So something's wrong. Either God's not a God of justice, or this passage in Deuteronomy 22 didn't come from God. So which is it?
Okay. I'm not going to say it doesn't come from God, but man, he mistranslate some of these letter that they couldn't understand. Because you
Which
remember
which
once
word is
there in the
mistranslated?
Bible that they say there was mistranslate in the Bible because
Me- So
I
just
forgot
to
the
be
verse
clear,
that
when
he
some
said, Simon
I
the leper, which is
the
if a
none
leper,
of
he
the
cannot
none of
be
the
in a city.
translations are going to be helpful to you. Every English translation is going to say the same thing.
I'm wondering what it's supposed to say and how
Yes.
you know.
So we got to use
Yeah.
our common
How
sense
how would
and
you know? Winsome,
our
how would you know anything in here is mistranslated?
yeah, because you have a Holy Spirit that leads you into the truth.
Oh, how?
I'm
Oh, you
asking
have the
you.
Holy Spirit that leads you to the
Yes.
truth.
Yes.
Are there Christians who disagree on what the truth is?
Some Christians disagree. I can't speak
Okay.
for all Christians. I can't speak.
How do we tell which of those Christians are being guided by the Holy Spirit and which ones aren't?
I cannot tell you that. I
Then
can't.
how do
I'm
you know
not going to
you're
sit
right?
down here and
And
say,
how do you know you're right?
me.
How do you know you're
I
right?
know that I'm. I know that I'm right
I
because
didn't I
right
didn't
now,
ask
because
you,
the only
Winsome, I didn't ask you
yeah,
if you knew you were right. I asked you how you knew you were right.
because there's a verification. I could verify it in the Bible that
No, you can't
all
verify it with the
scripture
Bible
was
because the
given
Bible
to,
could be mistranslated. I asked you how you know you're right.
because when I know I'm right. If you go to
I didn't ask
the
you
book
if you
that
know you're right.
talking
I
about,
don't
no, no, no,
care.
no. You
I
got
do not
now.
give it.
You have
Stop
your
fucking
platform and you're
Stop
speaking, so I'm
fucking
gonna
interrupt.
speak.
Stop fucking interrupting me. I asked you how you know you're right, not if you know you're right.
I know I'm right.
I didn't.
You know,
Okay.
I was explain to
Winsome,
you. Okay? Yes,
Winsome.
yes,
Did I ask
yes.
you if you know you're right?
No, you asked me. Oh,
No,
I know I'm right.
no. I asked you, how do you know you are correct, right?
Yes.
I need you to answer that question, not the imaginary question that you'd like for me to ask so
I'm
that you
not
can
giving you an
pretend, so that you
imagination
better fucking
question.
stop interrupting me right while I'm in the middle of a fucking sentence.
No, you're not.
Stop,
Excuse me. You're
stop
not going
making
to
up,
curse a
stop
bad word
making,
to me. Listen, I'm giving you my
I
precious.
will say whatever the fuck I want, and you can run away and pretend like it was because I said the word fuck when we all know the reality is you don't have, oh, you did run away. You don't have a justification, which is why I kept asking you what your justification is. And you kept repeating, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. Nobody gives a fuck whether you think you know you're right or not. We only care about, can you demonstrate that you're right? What a sad state of affairs, Winsome, that you, even with the guiding help of the Holy Spirit, cannot be honest and cannot defend your beliefs. You're the reason that I am no longer a Christian. Because when I got to the point where I realized I could not defend my beliefs, I stopped lying to myself and others. I stopped pretending to know things that I don't fucking know. I stopped pretending that I was justified unless I could demonstrate that I was justified. And even if I was really convinced I was right, but I knew that I couldn't demonstrate the justification, you know what I did? I stopped believing and continued searching for the truth. Because the truth is not arrived at by bald assertion, by confidence. Your confidence in something is irrelevant to whether or not it's true and whether or not you're correct. You could be incredibly confident in something that is true. You could be incredibly confident that the earth spins on its axis. And when I ask you, how do you know that? If you say, I know it, you didn't answer the question. And if your justification is because the Holy Spirit told you that the earth spins on its axis, then not only are you unjustified until you demonstrate that the Holy Spirit exists and that the Holy Spirit has ways to know, you just pushed the issue off 2 different degrees. Not only is that the case, but to the extent that you're right, it's coincidence. You could have just as easily been wrong. Your criteria. It's like when I ask you, you go to the carnival and somebody steps up and they're like, guess their weight. You might have guessed it exactly on the nose and then claim the Holy Spirit told you, but that'd just make you a liar, probably. Instead, you're just going to say, I know they're 216 pounds. Cool. How do you know that? I just know. Cool story, Winsome. We are closing in
Well, I
on our
guess
time, so go ahead.
we can cross off Philippians 4:13. She cannot do all things through Christ who strengthens her. She can't even provide a single justification for her conclusion.